So scatter graphs. Scatter graphs is a good way to show a relationship between where I've got a pair of values. So what I've got here in front of us is I've got three different scatter graphs that I've just drawn out, just to give you an idea. And they all show very different patterns. So we've got this one here. So I've taken some people and measured their heights, and I've got their shoe size as well. So I've gone and plotted these. So this is one person. So this was the shortest person, and they happen to have the smallest feet as well. And you can see they all form this nice sort of pretty much a straight line here. Okay, so we can describe the correlation. So the correlation there, when it's going in this direction, because as the shoe size goes up, the height goes up. That's kind of what you would expect, isn't it? So that's called a positive correlation. This one, now this one's going the other way. All right, so it does form a nice straight line, but it's going in the opposite direction. So as the temperature increases, then soup sales decrease. So if you think about it, in the winter time, people eat more soup. Okay, I quite like soup. So in the winter, people tend to eat more. In the summer, they tend to eat less. Okay, so that's what that's telling us. So, and that's called, when it goes in that direction, we call that a negative correlation. So I'm going to pop that there for you. And then this one just over here, that points all over the place. So we've got shoe size, and we got against income, right? How much money people earn. Well, surprisingly, income isn't related to the size of your feet. Okay, that'd be a little bit weird, wouldn't it? So imagine like the bigger feet that you've got, the more money you get. So when they're all over the place like that, we say no correlation. Now, if I just come back to these a second. So if you think about exam questions, it's either going to say describe the correlation. All right? So if you say describe the correlation, there's your answer. It might possibly say describe the strength of correlation. So if the points are on a really, like if they're all exactly a straight line, then you could say it's a really strong positive correlation. This one, I might add the term in front of it, a moderate positive correlation. It's pretty strong, but it's not brilliant. If I were to put an extra couple of points on here, let's say if I put a point there and there, it's still quite strong. It's still a positive correlation, but I might put in front of it maybe a weak positive correlation. The same with this one over here. If I just added a couple of points to it, I might then say that's a weak negative correlation. Now the other things that I might be asked about this is, so one question might say describe correlation. So we've just done that. The other question might say describe the relationship. So if it says describe the relationship, I don't want to refer to correlation. Don't say positive correlation. If it says describe the relationship, say as shoe size increases, height increases. Yeah, actually use the context of what you've got in front of you. As the temperature increases, soup sales decrease. All right, so if it might say describe the relationship, it probably wouldn't say describe the relationship here because there isn't a relationship, right? You just say there's no correlation, right? There's no connection between these two things over here. But here it might say describe the correlation. There we go. You might say strong, weak, okay? And then here you might say describe the relationship. So that's where you use the context of the questions that you've got just there. Right, so the other thing that we're going to have a quick look at, so we've talked about kind of commenting on the correlation, is just thinking for a second about drawing a scatter graph. Okay, relatively straightforward to do. All right, here you go. I've got a quick example here. We're just going to quickly work through this. It'll only take a few moments. So you've got the table below shows the shoe size, there we go, and mass of 10 men. So plot a scatter graph for this data and draw a line of best fit. So here we go. So the first person was 5 and 65. There we go. So I just put a little cross there. And then the next person was 12 and 97. There you go. Now I can't get it exact, so I'll just get it as close as I can, in between 95 and 100. You'll notice, by the way, down here, I've got these funny little markers here. If you think about it, I didn't want it, like, strictly speaking, I should start from 0, but I didn't really want to, because I knew that I wasn't going to have anything kind of in this region here. Otherwise, I'd have a really weird looking graph, because, you know, well, it would just be like empty down the bottom. And the same going across here. I knew I didn't need anything down here. So you can just put, like, if you just put like a little squiggle in there, it just means there's a little gap. It's not absolutely essential to be there, you know, don't worry about it too much, right? Just start from where you think is sensible, right? Don't necessarily have to start from 0 there. Okay, where were we up to? So we had 1297, we had 768, so pop that in there, and then 1092, so there we go. Ooh, maybe slightly higher than that. 1078, 1078, there we are. 978, so same point there. 876, there we go. And 1188, so just below the 90. 674, so we're nearly there, doesn't take too long. 880, 880. Okay. Some people ask the question, so we can see there, look, you can describe the correlation, right? Or we could describe the relationship. No surprise, the bigger feet you got, the more you're going to weigh, right? The bigger person you're going to be. Some people ask the question, sometimes you might get the same bit of data coming up. Somebody else might have size 5 and weigh 65 kilograms. So what you do under those circumstances is you can quite often, maybe you could just draw a circle around it, or you could put a little 2 by it or something. Here, so this one here. Right, so if this one came up again, I could draw a little circle around it, or I could put a little 2 by it. Maybe if it goes again, I might have to change it to a 3 or star it or something. Okay, so you can just make it different in some way. Right, it doesn't matter too much kind of what you do, just make it different. There you go, and that's how to draw a scatter graph. Okay, as you're doing these, try and think to yourself about the types of data that we've actually got in front of us. Okay, now it's easier today because I'm telling you to draw scatter graphs. The hardest bit about statistics, data handling, is knowing which graph to actually draw at a particular point in time. Right, it's not like these are not difficult to draw. It's thinking, oh yeah, I need to draw one of them. Right, that's the trickier bit. Right, and that's the kind of theme that we've had all the way through. So just trying to think about the data that we've got. Right, this isn't a frequency table. It's not saying how many people have got size 5, how many people have got size 6, how many people have got size 7. It's little paired information. All right, so that's where we plot one against the other. That's what makes it a scatter graph. Right, that's what we kind of, and then we can look for relationships in there. Okay, so that's how to draw it, and then you're going to have a go at doing a few questions, and next lesson we'll take it a little bit further. Okay, so you're going to have a go at doing a few questions.